guys, it's Moose. So, I'm back with a YouTube video. I thought I might do like a little fun video for you today where I transform thine self into clown. What? I'm doing a little collab with Disposable, who is a YouTuber and an Instagram fashion lady, and she's been doing, or they've been doing a kind of clown inspired Halloween month where they've been doing like little collabs with other Instagrammers. We're doing a vintage inspired clown, and she said I could do whatever I want basically. So it'd be nice to see what she does, because we're not doing like a character. It'd be kind of cool to see what her interpretation of a vintage clown will be. But as a twist, because I'm not so great at makeup and I don't feel comfortable doing like a full-on tutorial, because I have honestly no idea what I'm doing today. I'm kind of just winging it. I thought it'd be fun to do a horror movie tag. Woo! I don't talk about this much on my Instagram or YouTube or any of my social media, but I am like a horror movie nut. It is my absolute favourite genre of movie and book and TV show. Not that I watch much TV shows, and podcast. I do horror all year round, but especially in October when it's the spooky months. Me and my boyfriend go out of our way to try and watch as many like new horror thriller movies as much as possible. We kind of started out with the basic ones, like, because he hadn't seen a lot of like the classics like Friday the 13th or Halloween, so I showed him all them. So now we're kind of trying to get creative with what you're watching. So if you have any unique horror movie ideas, shoot me a comment of them down below. But get on with it, Sophie. I have a twist. I have created a horror movie tag. Now, I tried to look for a horror movie tag online, but if you search horror movie tag, it comes up with an Asian horror movie called Tag. I'm not joking. So I didn't really look that hard. There must be some horror movie tags out there somewhere. There's probably some on YouTube that I missed, but I thought I'd make one. It's 13 questions, and you guys are welcome to steal it and do your own version. Okay, I'm gonna tag Emily Boo because I know she loves horror. I'm gonna tag Paige Toddington or Backbones. I'm gonna tag Smalgish because I think Hannah will have some interesting answers to the questions. But I'm gonna start my makeup and I'm gonna do these as I go. I might run out, I might not, who knows? But get comfy, put some moisturizer on your face, grab yourself a spooky beverage or snack, because I think it's gonna be a long one, lads. I'm gonna start with a white base because clowns have white faces generally. So while I do this, the first question of the tag is first horror movie you watched. I have a bit of a complicated answer to this because I don't remember. I'm already failing at my own tag. I remember the first horror movie memory I had was my mum and dad were watching Alien? I think it was Alien, downstairs, and I came downstairs to do something. I can't remember what I was gonna do or ask or whatever, maybe get some water. But I remember hearing Alien and being so frightened by it, and from that day on I didn't want anything to do with horror. Look at me, I look crazy. I don't really have any strong memories of anything in particular. But yeah. So I'd say Alien. I watched a little bit of Alien and got mortified. So I've nearly got all on my face. I don't think I'm gonna do my neck, just because I'm gonna be wearing a ruff. So yeah, I'm just gonna blend this in a bit with a bigger blendy brushy. So the second question I've done is, what's the movie that made you fall in love with the horror genre? The Shining, it is thine shining. This proper solidified the fact that horror movies didn't have to be gory or torturous. because I grew up in an era in the early 2000s where horror movies were like Saw and Hostel. So all my memories of like early horror movies in that era are like horrifying and disgusting and depressing and sad. And The Shining was the first one I watched where it didn't have to be disgusting, and it really frightened me the first time I watched it. It really scared me. The fact that it's so isolating to be in a place like that in the Overlook hotel and have someone go crazy is just like absolutely terrifying. A bit like my face right now. And it's still one of my favourite horror movies like ever. It's so been ingrained into the kind of horror I like. I think the whole entire background and the story of how it was made is interesting. The more I find out about it, the more I think Stanley Kubrick's a fucking dickhead. But that kind of just makes it more interesting to me. I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I'm also quite a big movie buff in general. Like, I love learning about films and filmmaking. If I were to retake all of my education, I'd do media. Definitely do media because it's so interesting to me. I'm in love with the technical parts. I like the filming. This is why I missed YouTube so much. I like the filming. I like the editing. I just like the whole creative process behind it, and it's quite technical at the same time, so I don't know. So the clown reference I was looking at earlier, I'm doing a vintage clown, but I'm not doing a traditional one. So like, you know, the ones where they have like the triangle eyes and like sad eyebrows, sad mouth. I'm gonna do one I saw, which I thought was really unique, where its eyes kind of like were black and they kind of point down here. If I can find a picture of it, I will put it on screen, but I'm gonna try and attempt to do that look. Okay, so the third question is, what is your favourite horror subgenre? So the examples I've given are slasher, psychological, thriller, splatter, torture, found footage, supernatural, etc. This is actually a hard question for me because I really like psychological horror, like The Shining, like Midsummer, like Rosemary's Baby. I feel like this is going to be some like weird extravagant goth makeup rather than a vintage clown. It's so funny because I love the serious stuff so much, but I also really love the stupid, ridiculous, crazy movie premises, like, and a lot of that came out of the 80s. Like, I'm big kind of, I think I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's probably one of my favourite horror movies, and it's just ridiculous. Like, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, like, it sounds stupid, but it's actually like a really legit movie, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all. And I feel like if a movie was like made like that now, it'd take itself like way too seriously and it would just completely miss the point. So yeah, I'd say psychological is my favourite. So I'm gonna actually fill this in with that black lipstick instead of an eyeliner. Use Jeffree Star weirdo. I'm gonna tidy this up with eyeliner as well. I'm just gonna lay down some black. So I just think I said earlier, I think I'm gonna do a sad clown. Right, so I'm gonna really go into that later and clean it up with eyeliner on the edges, but I think so far that looks kind of interesting. Right, so horror movie that scared you so much that you couldn't sleep. I don't actually, with horror movies, I don't scare that easily. The last one I remember watching that scared me, I couldn't sleep, was The Babadook. And that sounds really dumb to the people who may have seen The Babadook because he became kind of like a meme for a bit. But when I first saw it, it really preyed upon proper childhood fears. Stuff coming from like around your open wardrobe underneath the bed, which is scary because my bed's right here. And I actually think the Babadook design itself is actually really scary because he's got a good mixture of looking like a child book character but also like a legitimate scary monster. I could sleep, but it's one of those things where if I thought about it, I was like, I have to put a light on. So I'd say the Babadook, and I think it's a really well made movie as well. I think it's a really good allegory is the right word, really good example of depression and how to deal with grief and depression and all that good stuff. Not too dissimilar to my normal makeup, my everyday makeup. Right, so I'm gonna do that thing that clowns tend to have where they have like those weird big eyes. What horror movies do you think are overrated? Annabelle, Paranormal Activity, all them. Just don't think they're interesting. But those kinds of movies I feel are just there to jump scare you, and then that's it. So, question number 6. Any horror movies that you think are underrated? One of them is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Originally, the Halloween series, if you know a lot about horror, you already know this, but if you don't, I'll explain. The Halloween movie, you know, Michael Myers, the one that started all the slasher movies, it was originally going to be an anthology series. So what John Carpenter wanted to do was have a different story that happened on Halloween night for every movie. And that Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, was going to be what Halloween 2 was, but people loved Michael Myers so much that he pushed back Halloween 3 and did another Michael Myers movie. So when he did do Season of the Witch, it tanked at box offices because people were like, oh, where's Michael Myers? I'm so angry that Michael Myers isn't in this. Isn't this a Halloween movie? And I think it's one of the biggest letdowns like in horror movie history, because I love anthology. That's kind of another favourite subgenre of movie that I love. I love movies or stories that are short stories combined into one. A good example of this is I love The Twilight Zone. I love Creep Show. I love Trick or Treat, not just because Trick or Treat is the best Halloween movie. It's also the best anthology movie. But I would have thought that's such a good idea. And Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, is a really good movie. It's not the best movie, but I still think it's really legit for what it is. I think more people need to actually watch it and have an opinion of it. So yeah, I recommend that. Oh, another underrated horror movie is Basket Case, and you should watch Basket Case. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. You should just find it and watch it. So next question is, who is your favourite movie monster? And I've written in brackets, could be a literal monster or just a really bad guy. My favourite horror movie monster is actually The Thing. The Thing is one of my favourite horror movies flat out in general. That fucking puppet, or those special effects in that movie are just phenomenal. And it's such a good case of why we should use more practical effects in movies. Like I'm imagining what we could do nowadays with practical effects in movies would be mental. We have the money and the technology to make some fucking sick practical effects, but we just use CGI instead, and it upsets me. Or a combo of the two would be amazing. Like, can you imagine, like, practical effects, CGI effects on top, banging. But The Thing is my favourite horror movie monster. My third clown. Number 8, favourite scene or set piece from a horror movie. Off the top of my head, in Trick or Treat, the scene where the kids go down to that, is it a quarry? I think it's a quarry. Go to the quarry to lay the pumpkins out for the dead children in the van. I think that's a really good scene. I'm not sure why, because it's not anything particularly standing out. It's quite generic. It's quite like, you kind of know exactly what's going to happen when it happens. But I just think the way it looks, the mood is like bang on. It makes you feel really uncomfortable, like really spooky and not nice. Ooh, one of my real favourites is the bit in The Witch, but with the 2 V's. Is the Black Phillip scene. I think that's like really, there's something about that scene that's like ungodly terrifying but weirdly sexual at the same time. It's done deliberately, but like it's just something about it. It's like, whoa. And Black Phillip is just, I think I don't have a big enough face to do this. Right, so I zoned out a little bit because I was trying to get some of the shapes right. I don't know if it's because I'm on camera or not, but I'm really struggling to like get what I want out from this. Right, I think that's the best it's gonna get. Next question. If you had to stay in one horror movie mansion or location, where would that be and why? And I'll give you some examples like Camp Crystal Lake, the Overlook Hotel, or the Sawyer Family home, etc. Ooh, I can't think of the rules I have for this, so I'm gonna let people interpret how they want. But I'm gonna say I want to live in Dracula's mansion, and this is a cop-out because I would not be mad living in that beautiful place. It'd be creepy as fuck though at the same time, but whatever, turn me into a vampire, I don't care. I just don't want to live anywhere near where a serial killer may be. I'd rather take my chances as vampires, as weird as that sounds. 10. Are there any horror movies you can't watch / refuse to watch because they disgust you too much? Right, so I have never seen Audition. I think it's Audition. I don't know if it's the Audition, but that is a movie that I feel like I've seen clips from it. I know what happens in it. I don't want to watch it. I am not a big fan of like torture-y stuff. Like, I've never watched, I will admit that I've never watched Saw. I've seen Hostel and I watched it in a youth hostel. Figure that one out. They actually had it on DVD at the hostel and I was like, what the fuck, what maniac thought this was a cool idea? But I think I could never watch Audition. I could never watch a Serbian film. I like things like Human Centipede. I've watched Human Centipede before, but that comes across to me as more campy than it does serious. Things like Serbian film and Audition and Saw. I'm going to watch Saw this year, by the way. I have it on DVD. It's sitting in here somewhere. Because apparently the first one's actually really legit good. Also, I think those little round boys are cute. There's only 3 questions left. That's cute. 11. Have you got any horror crushes? An actor or a character or whatever? You nasty. I want to say no. Like, genuinely no. Thing is, a horror is so broad. I can think of like a few movies that have like hot characters in, but none that I'd actually want to like do the diddle with. But I'm not like that anyway with characters. I don't even know why I put this question. It's because I know you guys are nasty. That's why. I know anyone who does this tag is going to be like, I find that person hot. I'm sitting here going, I'm trying to think so hard. Maybe David from Lost Boys, maybe, but that's teetering on not really a horror movie. But yeah, he'd be the closest I probably have, but like otherwise everyone's just gross to me, like genuinely just gross. Leg's going dead. So next question, I put this question in for me because I made the tag, obviously. Best horror movie watched on Halloween. My favourite movie to watch on Halloween is Trick or Treat. I'm gonna be that cliche. It's one of my favourite horror movies in general, but I do think it captures the essence of Halloween so perfectly. It's no wonder why Sam from that movie has become such like a Halloween icon, is because he's like perfect. He's like embodies everything spooky and fun, but also horrifying about Halloween, and I think it's just like a perfect movie to watch on the day. Sorry, I went very quiet there for a second. I was doing a lot of outlining. So I think his makeup's kind of done. I don't know if I want to do more to it. I'm sorry about my terrible hair at the moment. I'm trying to grow my hair out, which is being a bit of a struggle. I think what I want to do with makeup is maybe put a line down the middle of here. I want to know why clowns do these lines. Yeah, I think that really sold it. Right, so I'm just going to paint my ears white a little bit. Ah, I think I'm done. So I'm going to put a little bit of costuming on and I'll come back and answer the last horror movie tag question. So this is my finished look. I just added a little ruff. I'm just wearing stripy top. Very clownish, very upsetting, very sad. Anyway, the last question of the horror tag is, what is your guilty pleasure horror movie? I'm so into my So Bad It's Good horror movies, and there was a movie I watched recently called Wish Upon. My god, is that movie terrible, but it was so funny that I'd probably count that in as like a guilty pleasure movie. Yeah, I'd say Wish Upon. Go check out Wish Upon, I think it's on Netflix. Pretty terrible. I also really like Scary Movie. Is that a guilty pleasure? Like, I think Scary Movie's really funny even now. I think it's fucking hilarious. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a comment or a like. I hope you like my clown makeup. You can see more looks, more makeups, more outfits on my Instagram at Mooseham. And take care, guys, and have a very spooky October. Very spooky Halloween. Bye!